Ron Harris here from muscledevelopment.com at the Tampa Pro, coverage brought to you by High Tech Pharmaceuticals. Standing here with definitely one of the favorites for open men bodybuilding here at Tampa Pro this year, all the way from Canada. You remember him last year behind Dexter Jackson and the late Luke Sando. Yep. Iain Valliere. Iain, first of all, thanks for coming down, because any pro that prepped for this show or any pro show this year, I think deserves special commendation, because you didn't know what the heck was going on this year with shows, right?
No, it was obviously a weird circumstance, but we were all kind of in the same boat here. So, I mean, you just had to kind of go into it with the, hope for the best and prepare for the worst kind of mentality, right? So I just did my business and, found a show that I could get into. And once I kind of had confirmation that I could get across the border, we just went guns blazing for Tampa.
Yeah. Now, we did an interview not that long ago. I know you were able to make really good improvements training at not a commercial facility, but basically a couple different home gyms. Mm-hmm. Looking back now, do you feel like in any way that benefited you rather than training at your regular commercial gym?
Well, absolutely. I think I said this the last time we talked as well. I mean, it's, it just kind of brought me back to my roots of training, of, getting back to the hardcore. This fucking thing keeps slipping on my damn face. Getting back to your roots of the hardcore, kind of like meat and potatoes, your squats, your deadlifts, and, your heavy compounds and stuff like that, and, away from the machines and things we get so reliant on over time, right? So, and also when you're limited in the weight you have as well, you're really forced to really think about the intention of all your movements, right? So I think it really, helped in that aspect, and I think it'll show definitely on stage this weekend. So,
I mean, we've all been following you on Instagram and everything. It seems to me you've made some drastic improvements. That front lat spread picture has been reposted I don't know how many times by people. People can't believe how wide you are up top and how small your waist appears. What improvements do you feel you've made since this show last year?
I think the biggest thing that's going to show is definitely going to be in my back shots. I mean, I think that's been the biggest knock. I mean, obviously, I think a lot of knock was definitely on my chest in a lot of poses, but I think that's not a muscularity thing. I think that's more just when I go flat, my chest is the first thing that really, really shows it. I think from an actual judging standpoint, my back shots were definitely my weakest, and I think this show is going to probably be close to the opposite. So I think, my back shots now I could really put up there as good as any of my other shots. So I'm definitely excited to display that, and I think it'll be a big, big difference from last year for sure.
So you're working with a new coach now, Patrick Chor from Switzerland.
Yep.
I won't get the whole last week protocol or anything that complicated, but how do you feel? How do you look differently than you typically would at this point?
Yeah, I mean, obviously this morning coming off like 4 low days kind of, to prepare for the carbs. I was already 12 pounds up from last year's Tampa.
Wow.
So
wow.
I came into the show last year, like after my carb up, before like dropping water or anything like that, I was about 242 to 244 for the show, and I'm like 254 today. So, and then I'm actually in probably better condition because of the added size and fullness. It makes that same conditioning look more conditioned, right? It's just a more level of maturity and graininess and density that I think I'm already well known for. That's just going to pop even more now. Jeez, this is just ridiculous.
So, this is going to be an interesting matchup, and I'm not disrespecting any of the other guys in the show, but the two men that most people are talking about at this event this weekend are yourself and Hunter Labrada. Mm-hmm. And you guys do match up very, very well, I think. Mm-hmm. Similar height, similar size. You obviously have a little bit of muscle maturity on your side, a little bit of detail. It's his first pro show, but how interesting is it for you to know that they're only really talking about two people in the show and you're one of them?
Yeah, I mean, I think I don't want to come off arrogant saying this. I think I've earned my stripes at this point. I think I've been consistent. I haven't placed outside of a top 4 in a pro show since 2015 or 2016. So, I mean, the proof is in the pudding. My consistency is there. Even in my worst showings, I've never been outside the top 4. I don't even remember what second call-outs feel like, to be honest, at this point. So, I think I've earned my stripes to be, especially a show like this where there isn't any top 8 Olympia guys or top 6 Olympia guys to, have my name in that vote to be the winner of the show, right? I mean, I think really the most impressive is someone like Hunter. I mean, a pro debut, and to be talked about, to be a winner in your pro debut is obviously extremely impressive. And I think he's deserved every bit of that praise. The guy looks fucking awesome. So I'm definitely excited to see how we match up. I mean, like you said, our physiques have a lot of similarities in strengths, but also some differences. I think, like you said, I have a little bit more maturity and graininess and density to my physique, and I think he has a little bit better flow through some shots, like his front double is definitely a little nicer than mine, but I think on the side shots, especially the side shots and the back shots, the little bit of the hardness, the conditioning will definitely shine through. So it's going to be very interesting, I think, to see us how we match up. So
I think it was Giles Thomas said you have one of the best side triceps poses in the sport today.
well, I appreciate that. I mean, it's definitely a shot that I think really shows off, one, my front to back thickness, and then two, my waist control, which not many guys have at my size. So it's something I do take a lot of pride in for sure.
Now I'm looking around for bumsteads. I don't see any. You came down from Canada all by yourself for this show?
Yeah, solo dolo for this one. I mean,
wow.
Obviously, with the dynamic of everything right now, it's just a little different. And, being Canadian flying here, we do have to quarantine for 2 weeks when we do return. So, it just kind of made it a little more difficult for everything. My wife, Melissa, she does work. So, for her to take 3 weeks off work and stuff like that. And, so it was just easiest for me to come alone. It's, a new experience for me to kind of experience as well. So, I'm kind of looking forward to it as well. So it'll be an interesting, thing to see how it plays out.
So, when we talked weeks ago, you weren't even sure you were going to be able to get in on a regular airline flight. You were going to have to do some special sort of visa. What ended up happening? Are all Canadians now is it okay to travel from Canada?
Yeah, I mean, when I went through customs, I literally said that I was flying for leisure pleasure. So, I mean, I had everything prepared that if I didn't, if they had been like, no, you can't, I did have all my documentation to show that it was for a work, function of sorts. I did have everything in order for that. But when I went through customs and you're doing the machine, I clicked, B2 for a leisure pleasure. And the guy said, what are you going down for? I said, a fitness expo. He said, cool, when you back? I said, Sunday. He said, sweet, have fun. And that was the end of it. So,
awesome.
It was no issues whatsoever for Canadians. I mean, I know everyone hasn't been so lucky. I know Samson didn't get through, but for us Canadians, I mean, there is other Canadians here. I think there's 6 Canadians in the show, right? Because Jen Dory's here as well, doing bikini. I think there's a figure girl, maybe a fitness competitor. So I think there's 6 of us in all. So, I mean, it's a couple of us did, weather the storm to come down here. So,
like I said, thanks to you and all these athletes, because if we didn't have athletes preparing through this madness, there would be no show regardless. So, thanks for bringing your best to the show. I'm looking forward to seeing what you got for it. Pulling for you. You're a good guy. I always like to see the good guys win. So.
Thank you.
Not that Hunter's a bad guy. We'll see. I'm sure he's a good guy too. But congratulations on successfully preparing for this throughout a worldwide pandemic.
Yeah.
No other bodybuilders had to do this ever
it's crazy.
in history.
Crazy time. So we're all looking forward to just even be here at this event. I think everyone's just excited to be here and see a good bodybuilding show take place. So it'll be a good weekend for sure.
Okay, guys. So we will see Iain Valliere on stage Saturday, Open Men Bodybuilding here at the Tampa Pro. For Muscular Development, Ron Harris.